Hey, BJ, thanks for your time. Nice shirt, by the way. When you look at Christian Pulisic, the eyeball test is he's playing very well. But when you look statistically about what he's done recently for the U.S. versus what happened at Chelsea, do you think there's an, uh, an inspiration for him to come out and prove that, maybe Chelsea's making a mistake by not playing him to sort of prove his worth? And he's talked about it being fun again for him getting to play.
Yeah, I mean, Christian for us, we know how big of a player and influence he is for us on and off the field. I can't speak to whether he's motivated to prove anybody wrong. I can just speak that I know how much representing the United States national team and the United States in general means to him. Every time that he comes into camp, how excited he is and how positive he is to be here. So I just think again, when you're in a comfortable environment, one that you feel good and confident in, that's when you see the best version. And I'm glad that we're getting the best version of Christian Pulisic.
Hi, BJ. Steve Goff, The Washington Post. Now that it's official, what are your thoughts on Greg coming back to the helm in a month or so? And is that something you would like to continue as part of that technical team?
Sure. I mean, I think a lot of a lot of the work done over the last 4.5 years and a lot of the success that we've had and that we continue to have is a large part due to what Greg was able to bring and build and allow a lot of people inside the environment to have ownership for. I understand how robust of a process that there was to go through to be named the men's national team coach again, and for him to perform well in that and to be selected again, I think is a testament to his ability as a coach and as a leader. In regards to myself, I think just my willingness to step up in this time shows my commitment to the men's national team, and again, how much pride I take in being part of the men's national team. Just like all the other players and staff members that we have, we hold this honor, and we understand the importance of it. And if I was asked to continue, it's certainly something that I would have to consider seriously.
Yep. Henry Bushnell from Yahoo Sports. Question about the game tomorrow. There's a lot of talk today, especially among the Canada guys, that these are probably the two best teams in Concacaf. Do you feel that way right now, U.S. and Canada?
I mean, for me, we remain focused on ourselves, and I don't think we look at are we the best in CONCACAF. We are. I think I've said this many times before. Our standard is to remain in a way that we want to continue to grow and compete against the elite in international football. And so the standards that we hold ourselves to is sort of how we judge ourselves. So I wouldn't make it a comparison between the U.S. and Canada or any team in CONCACAF. We have large aspirations as a country and as a team to compete against the elite and to make, again, the biggest impact that we can in 2026.
Hi, BJ. Jeff Carlisle with ESPN. Obviously, you're missing Serginho and Wes tomorrow. Specifically with Serginho, given the speed and skill that Canada has on the flanks, how much does their absence maybe affect things and affect your preparation and tactics?
I mean, Serginho's a great player for us, and he's a guy who's made a lot of great positive impacts. But I don't think it necessarily impacts our tactics. We're all very confident in the 23 players that are here. A lot of them have been inside our program for a while, so we expect the mentality of the next man is going to step up, and I think we're all comfortable in performing our roles, and all the players are comfortable performing their roles when their number's called.
Hey, BJ. Doug McIntyre, Fox Sports. When the team found out that Greg was coming back tonight, can you take us through that moment? I guess it was at dinner. Like, what was the reaction? And just on the game, why has Canada been such a tough matchup for this group over the last number of years?
Yeah, I mean, the best way I can describe the environment when the players and staff found out that evening that Greg was coming back was a very professional approach, right? I think when you have clarity, there is a sense of calm because now everybody sort of understands how this is going to proceed forward. But there was also within that calmness was this level of like, well, we're still here focused on what is at stake. And when we all came in and made this commitment that we want to win a second trophy, that's kind of where our immediate focus is on. And I think, as once this tournament concludes, that group of players will be able to maybe think about it in a different way. But right now there's a real, I would say, focus and determination to finish the job that we all sort of, bonded and agreed upon when we came together, 10 days ago, give or take. Oh yeah. Sorry. So, I mean, for us in Canada, they're a good team. They're a good team as a team with structure, well coached. They have some amazing individual talented players as well. So when you talk about a tough matchup, it's a tough matchup because it's a good team. And they have, again, and they can hurt you in different ways. So, I expect it to be a really good game, but, I think that's the best way I can answer it is when two good teams go against each other, I hope the expectation is that it's going to be a good game and the result should be close.
Hey BJ, Sanjay from Backheel, the Scuffed podcast and Youngster coming. Two-part question. First part's about Joe Scally. He hasn't started a game, if I'm not mistaken. He hasn't started a game at right back for the U.S. yet. Obviously didn't play at the World Cup. Could you talk about his development as a player in the Bundesliga and whether you think he's ready for a moment like tomorrow if he gets a nod? And second part, Miles and Chris hit some pretty good line-breaking passes the other night. Could you talk about what that means to have two center backs who can pass the ball like that moving forward with that foundation? Thank you.
Yeah, and for me, Joe, the specific is maybe he didn't start at right back, but he did in March start a game for us. We have the utmost confidence in Joe if his number's called because, he's a player that we identified to be part of the World Cup squad, which, is, I think, a strong vote of confidence. He plays in the Bundesliga, which is one of the top 5 leagues in the world. And so for us, we have, all of the confidence in Joe, and I believe that he should have all the confidence in himself that if his number gets called, he's going to be able to put a big performance in. Second question?
Their ability to pass center back like that means for the team moving forward.
Yeah, that's again, we talk about our desire to be able to compete against the top teams of international football. That starts with your ability to control build-up. And when you have two center backs that are comfortable in the ball, that can break lines and can play a variety of passes, I think you saw Chris Richards, make multiple passes into Balo from center back all the way into forward and having that vision. It allows our identity as a team to come out, and at the same time, I think it makes us even more unpredictable and more difficult to prepare against. So when we're able to have that in our first line of build up, it becomes a great strength. And the last thing I would say is now all of the players on the field who want the ball are engaged because they know that there's two center backs out there that can find them and give them the ball when they're open.
We'll take 2 final questions here in the room, and then I'll go to a final question in the Zoom.
Hey, BJ, Paul Tenorio from The Athletic. Looking back to 2021, getting that first trophy was a validating moment, I think, in kind of the building, in the progression of the team. Do you think that would be the same for Canada, and do you expect there to be kind of an emotional element to this, with Canada kind of knowing what that moment could mean for the country and for their own build up with the national team?
Yeah, I mean, when I speak about our opportunity to win the first Nations League trophy in 2021, that was a moment for us that gave us that belief, right? It gave us the belief that, man, we've got something special here. And then from that belief gave us even more momentum to continue to go. I can't speak about how it's going to mean for Canada because I don't know what their goals and their aspirations are. But I can tell you for us, when we won the Nations League trophy, it was really a moment of clarity for us that we proved to ourselves that we can win big games. And now the expectation is we want to get that taste more and more and continue to challenge ourselves in big games and high stakes games. And that's what we have another opportunity for tomorrow.
Thank you. Mike Whitehall from Soccer America. What's your opinion on the officials who've been assigned to referee the game tomorrow? And have you spoken to, or will you speak to your players about how to react or how to work in a way that they avoid yellow cards or red cards?
To be quite honest, I haven't even been given who the referee is yet. So, so for me, I don't know who the referee is yet tomorrow. I haven't been notified. But I can tell you that our message to our team will always be to understand that this is a final. There's going to be high intensity, high stakes. We have to meet the level of intensity that's going to be there. We know we're going to have to be, we're going to have a high level of competitiveness. The game still has a rivalry feel to it, but at the same time, we need to remain composed, calm, because at the end of the day, the objective is to win the Nations League trophy. And to do that, we need to give ourselves the best chance, which is, we have to play with a high level of intensity, but not go over the line.
I'll take a final question here in Zoom. So, Andrew Jones, please.
Thank you very much, Andrew Jones from ESPN Anscape. Coach, once again, want to ask you just how you felt of having coached your first game and the experience of having your family and friends react to that first game that you coached in, and your thoughts on who you feel Canada's underrated players are. That we see the billing for Davies, Eustachio, Larry, but who do you feel is someone that has caught your eyes that has been underrated in your mind and evaluated?
I mean, my feeling about the game is that I was just super happy and proud of the players. They've worked so hard in the training camp. They've taken a ton of ownership inside this camp and inside our team culture. So for me, I personally felt great joy for them to be able to do all of that work and then have that level of performance. There's just a nice, it's just great to see something like that happen, and for them to have, such level of, I would say, joy and excitement from there. In terms of, from my friends and family, to get to this point, you need to have a lot of support. And so you're just happy for them. You're so much less happy for yourself, and you're just more happy that a lot of that support was validated from them. So for me, that's kind of how I felt. In terms of the underrated player for Canada, I would like to mention two players, if that's okay. The first player would be, for me, Steven Vittoria. I had an opportunity to coach Steven in Philadelphia Union, and his experience, calm leadership for a team like this, I think maybe goes unnoticed. But for me, he's a consistent presence in that back line, and he's someone that has the ability to control the tempo of the game. And so, for me, as we talk about center backs that can pass and line-breaking passes, he's one that does that well. And I think another important person for Canada, I'm not so sure he's underappreciated, but from me, I'd like to just shout out to Atiba Hutchinson, a guy who has had an unbelievable career, both club and country, represented his country over 100 times. He's made a massive impact on the field, and I can only imagine the type of impact he's made off the field for that team. So, those are two players that I would, point out specifically, and from us, just a congratulations to Atiba on an awesome international career.
Thank you so much, BJ Callaghan, and